things a bit tough for you at the moment?
Is there a little too much drama in your life?
Well, don't worry, we can help.
Because we've been there.
Done that.
All right, Paul, today's problem is I fight with my parents all the time. They're so strict.
Yeah, I think we all know what that's like.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was 12 years old, my parents thought I was watching too much TV.
Right, that seems pretty normal.
That's normal.
Yeah.
What they did next is not normal. They got rid of the TV.
What do you mean?
They walked in one morning, I was watching cartoons, and I'm sitting there with my cereal, and they just pulled it out of the wall.
What?
And just took it away. And
and they put it in another room so you could watch lots more TV?
Nope, wrong. They disappeared the television. So for about 5 years, I didn't have a TV. So I would go to school and all we talked about as kids was what had been on TV the previous night.
That's the thing, you go home, you watch your shows from like 4 o'clock till maybe 6 or something like that, and that's the good shows. What did you watch when you got home from school?
I sat there staring at the wall, a single tear rolling down my cheek.
Would you just like draw a big square on the wall?
Yeah, and then just sit there pointing at it going, TV, TV.
Make happiness happen.
Yeah, so I would get to school and people would say, what did you think of blah? And I would say, and I'd have to just make stuff up. So I would hide around the corner from friends talking about TV shows, and I would catch keywords of like the names of characters and the names of episodes and certain things, and then I would just wander into the circle of people and just start loudly saying those words out of context, which doesn't work.
No.
They instantly saw through it, and I became this kind of social outcast, and that made me angry and resentful at my parents for depriving me of television, and it made them angry at me for like complaining constantly about not having television.
Yeah.
So eventually we got the TV back and it was all good, but it created a lot of resentment, and what it taught me was that parents aren't always right because they kind of overreacted, and they admitted later on they overreacted. What we probably should have done was organise some sort of like rationing system for the television. So you can watch TV between these hours if you do this.
Because it is actually genuinely very reasonable to say don't watch too much TV. I think that's really fair.
Absolutely. I just wish we'd all handled it a bit differently because we all sort of acted like children. And I now have this 5-year gap in my life where I haven't seen anything.
You missed the good stuff.
Did I?
There was some good television.
Those were good years. Stolen from me.
I think one of the first things to remember about fighting, especially when it comes to your parents, is that it is absolutely normal. I cannot stress this enough. Every single family will have fights at some point or another. It's bound to happen. Yeah. So if you are in a situation where you're having a fight with your family, with your parents, just don't feel like that means that there's something wrong with your family or that there's something wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong. It's completely normal.
That's absolutely right. And one of the key things to remember when you start fighting is, as long as you fight fair,
yeah.
You know, don't bring up old grievances and don't get violent. As long as you keep that in mind, you should be okay.
Yeah, never hurt or anything like that. But I think another thing that's really important, and this is something, you know, that I'm still learning, is that you've got to be willing to see the other person's point of view. If the other person, like if your mum or your dad come up with a really good point, or if they genuinely just can't let you have your own way this time and they've got really good reasons for that, you've got to be able to acknowledge that.
Yeah, another key point is communicate. There is no point fighting if you aren't actually conveying information that is going to help you avoid fights in the future.
You just get angrier. You just get so much angrier.
Yeah, that's it. You can get very tempted. You know, your adrenaline gets up and you start yelling and screaming. That doesn't help. What you have to do is just calm down and try and communicate information to avoid these kind of things in the future.
And this sort of stuff is hard. A lot of adults still struggle with this sort of stuff as well. But if you can, in the middle of the fight, if you can try to, you know, take those breaths and stay really calm and pick the sentences that you want to say and the words that you actually really mean, it will mean that the fight will hopefully get resolved an awful lot quicker, and you'll be able to move past that and find a solution at the end.
Problem solved.
Class dismissed. And just to celebrate the end of this episode, guys, I'm going to sing you all a little song. I talked about my feelings and it was the best. I learned things about school and about a test for my life, cause I am going through changes all the time. I don't know what to say next and I can't think of a rhyme. End of the episode and I'm feeling great.